The truth about Easter and the secret worship of the Anunnaki. The following article is based on J.R. Terrier's book History of Easter, Hidden, Secret Origins and Mystery Religion. Editions by Alexander Light, humansarefree.com. Easter is an annual celebration observed throughout the Christian world. However, there are absolutely no verses in the Bible that authorize or endorse the keeping of this tradition. Further, the Bible does not mention anything about Easter eggs, Easter baskets, Easter bunnies, or even Lent. The author includes convincing evidence to show that these very items were parts of the pagan rituals of the mystery religion of ancient Babylon. Where did the tradition of celebrating Easter originate? The author exposes the hidden accounts of the original Easter festival, which was initiated several thousand years ago, many years before the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Easter, Anunnaki connections. The name Easter actually comes from Ishtar, Easter, who was worshipped as the moon goddess, the goddess of spring and fertility, and the queen of heaven. She is known by so many other names in other countries and cultures that she is often referred to as the goddess of 1,000 names. Inanna is the Sumerian name of Ishtar, and definitely the most important one. Inanna was the granddaughter of Enlil, who in turn was Anu's son. Anu was the highest-ranking Anunnaki and his name translated Great Sky Father. Anu was revered as god of the heavens, and he was the central figure of mankind's first religion. According to the Sumerian tablets, he only visited Earth twice. The Babylonian connections. John 8:44, 2 Corinthians 11:14, 1 Peter 5-8. Ishtar, the Babylonian goddess, is the one for whom Easter is named. Ishtar is but another name for Semiramis, the wife of Nimrod. This post-flood festival was part of the false religion Mystery Babylon and was started by Nimrod and his wife Semiramis, also known as Ishtar. They not only instituted the building of the Tower of Babel, they also established themselves as god and goddess to be worshipped by the people of Babylon. They are the co-founders of all the counterfeit religions that have ever existed. Nimrod was worshipped as the sun god. He was worshipped in numerous cultures and countries under a variety of names, Samas, Attis, Uti, Merodach, Marduk, Ninus, Bel, Baal, Moloch, Tammuz. The list is virtually endless. He was also known as Dumuzi by the Sumerians and as Ra by the Egyptians, as I have detailed in this article. Millions of people are unknowingly worshipping and praying to this pagan goddess today. What is her present-day name? The Babylonians celebrated the day of Ishtar, Easter, as the return of the goddess of spring, the rebirth or reincarnation of nature and the goddess of nature. Babylonian legend says that each year a huge egg would fall from heaven and would land in the area around the Euphrates River. The Pope's ceremonial clothes copy those worn by the ancient priests of Dagon, and not by coincidence. According to the Sumerian tablets, when the Anunnaki god Enki first arrived on Earth, he landed his spaceship on water. He later emerged from water wearing his scaly fish suit, astronaut's suit. Thousands of years later, the ceremony of the fish god was still celebrated in Akkadian, Assyria, and Babylon, by the priests of Dagon. And seemingly it still is today. In her yearly rebirth, Ishtar would break out of this egg, and if any of those celebrating this occasion happened to find her egg, Ishtar would bestow a special blessing on that person. Does this explain the origin of our modern-day tradition of Easter eggs and baskets and Easter egg hunts? Other pagan rites that were connected with this celebration and which are part of our modern Easter tradition are Easter offerings to the Queen of Heaven, consisting of freshly cut flowers, hot buns decorated with crosses, and star-shaped cakes, new clothes to celebrate this festival. The pagan priests wore new clothes or robes, and the Vestal virgins wore new white dresses or robes and bonnets on their heads, and sunrise services, to symbolically hasten the yearly arrival of Ishtar's egg from heaven, the reincarnation of the spring goddess. The Vatican is secretly perpetuating the ancient pagan rituals in the worship of their ancient gods, aka the Anunnaki. The shadow religion of the world's elite is Satanism, and all the positions of power are occupied by Satanists. The Satanic connections. Easter has its origins in the world of the occult. The occult, Satanic calendar is comprised of 4 periods of 13 weeks each. Occultists believe that numbers contain inherent power, and many base their lives on numerology. Numerology is also a key component of astrology, another system occultists follow closely. Thus the occult calendar is divided into 4 parts of 13 weeks each. Note that 13 by 4 equals 52 weeks, our year. In the occult system, the number 6 equals man, the number 7 equals divine perfection or God, and the number 13 equals rebellion against authority and depravity. So, in the occult or satanic world, the number 13 represents the state of man's having reached divine perfection, self-achieved perfection, and illumination. According to 8th century scholar Saint Bede, also known as the Venerable Bede, the Venerable, the name Easter is derived from the Scandinavian Ostra and the Teutonic Oster Nora Easter, both of whom were goddesses of mythology and were identified with spring and fertility. Festivals for these goddesses were celebrated on the first day of the vernal equinox, March 21st. Important parts of these pagan celebrations included the rabbit, red eggs, and gifts, all of which represented fertility. Easter is steeped in the mysteries of ancient Babylon, an evil and idolatrous system. The satanic ritual of sacrificing children. Every year, the priests of Ishtar would impregnate young virgins on an altar dedicated to herself and her husband. The children were born on Christmas, and the next year they were sacrificed in the Easter Sunday at the sunrise service. The priests would take Ishtar's eggs and dye them in the blood of the sacrificed children. Inanna's husband was none other than the infamous god Moloch or Melech, to whom children were, and still are, sacrificed in satanic rituals. Satanism is the religious worship of the Anunnaki, and the human and animal sacrifices are part of the rituals. If you're finding it hard to believe, then here is an excerpt of the Encyclopedia Judaica, which identifies Ishtar, Inanna and her husband as the gods to whom children were sacrificed. The identification of Hadad Baal with Moloch provides the background to Jeremiah 32 hours 35 minutes, which fulminates against the Bamad altars of Baal in the valley of Ben Hinnom where male and female children were burnt to Moloch, that is, Baal Hadad. Furthermore, a series of Assyrian Ahriman documents analyzed by K. Deller showed that Adad Milki or Adad Saru, Adad the king, was actually the god to whom children, sometimes firstborn, were burned. See below. The Assyrian material sheds new light on 2 Kings 17 where Adad-Melech, to be read instead of Adramelech, is the god to whom the Sepharvites dedicate their children, verse 31. Adad-Melech in this verse stands next to Anamelech who has been correctly related by scholars to Anath who bears the title Queen of Heaven, the standard term for Ishtar in Akkadian, Sarat Same, cf. Sumerian Nin.Ana.Ak equals Inanna. The Paradad and Ishtar, or the king and the queen, are the ones to whom children are dedicated in the Assyrian Ahriman documents quoted above. The Cult of Moloch, Jewish Library. The following image was secretly taken during a satanic ritual in which a human body, was burned in front of a wooden owl statue dedicated to Ishtar/Inanna/Moloch, at Bohemian Grove. Most of the world's elite, active and former presidents, prime ministers, politicians, judges, etc. and even royalty, take part at this annual ritual. Notice the fish god priests conducting the ritual. Here is a depiction of Ishtar, Inanna flanked by a couple of owls, and designed to look like an owl herself. Notice the legs and wings. More inconsistencies. Our traditional Good Friday to Sunday celebration however only accounts for Jesus being in the heart of the earth for 2 nights and 1 day. Were the facts of Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection purposely distorted? Learn who is not telling the truth, and why. The author has investigated credible and reliable ancient sources to uncover the real origins of our Easter tradition. Was Jesus nailed to a cross or a tree? Is the true church a physical building, or is it something much more? There are absolutely no verses anywhere in the Bible that authorize or endorse the keeping of an Easter celebration. Further, the Bible says nothing about the practice of observing Lent, dyeing Easter eggs, having Easter egg hunts, baskets of candy, bonnets, and so on. Easter has long been known to be a pagan festival. America's founders knew this. In the children's book Easter Parade, Welcome Sweet Springtime, pages 4 to 5, Steve Englehart states, when the Puritans came to North America, they regarded the celebration of Easter, and the celebration of Christmas with suspicion. They knew that pagans had celebrated the return of spring long before Christians celebrated Easter. For the first 200 years of European life in North America, only a few states, mostly in the South, paid much attention to Easter. Not until after the Civil War did Americans begin celebrating this holiday. Easter first became an American tradition in the 1870s. The original 13 colonies of America began as a Christian nation, with the cry of "No king but King Jesus." The nation did not observe Easter within an entire century of its founding. Most people accept traditions as fact because they have been part of our culture for so long. Unfortunately, most of these traditions are dark and gory satanic rituals. Trust me, I am just as disgusted as you are, or should be, but the truth must be known. Article based on J.R. Terrier's article published on Mystery Babylon, editions by Alexander Light, humansarefree.com, Child Sacrifice Connection, Jewish Virtual Library. You can buy J.R. Terrier's book History of Easter, Hidden, Secret Origins and Mystery Religion. Help the Truth Can Change Your Life channel to raise the vibration and share and subscribe this article with your family and friends.